It's been all over everywhere. Audemars Piguet has collaborated with Travis Scott's Cactus Jack brand for a new Royal Oak Perpetual Calendar Openworked, and I bet you've got some thoughts on it. I do too. So here's how I'm going to do this. First, I'm going to introduce the watch, then I'm going to lay out everything I've seen in favour of it, and then I'm going to counter with everything that stacks up against it. At the end, I'm going to want you to vote in the comments to see what you all think. Let's get into it. So this is the Audemars Piguet and Travis Scott Royal Oak Perpetual Calendar Openworked Cactus Jack. I'm sure you're familiar with Audemars Piguet, so let's cover off Travis Scott and Cactus Jack. Jacques Bermond-Webster II, better known as Travis Scott, is a performer, writer and producer predominantly in the hip-hop scene. He has the population of the UK listening to his music on Spotify every month, and his YouTube channel has more views than the entire population of Earth. He has a record label called Cactus Jack, not to be confused with WWE wrestler Mick Foley, better known as Mankind, who also went by Cactus Jack, and has subsequently collaborated with a number of famous fashion companies including Nike and Dior, as well as brands like McDonald's, Fortnite and Sony PlayStation. If they've got budget, Travis Scott will do it. And it turns out that in his last year as CEO of Audemars Piguet, Francois-Henri Benamias has budget too. Benamias has served the Royal Oak Company since 1994, ditching a career as a pro golfer to bring Audemars Piguet to the hip-hop scene in the early 2000s. Whatever your opinion of Audemars Piguet, two things are true. One, it's his fault, and two, Audemars Piguet is the fourth biggest watchmaker in the world. It's been a flurry of controversy in Benamias' last few years, with notable moments including the Marvel collaborations, Music Edition Offshore, and now this, the Cactus Jack collaboration with Travis Scott. Clearly, Benamias has his heart set on making his mark and taking Audemars Piguet where he thinks it needs to go.
That's it, Francois.
As for the watch itself, it's of course based on the Royal Oak Perpetual Calendar Openworked, but it switches out black ceramic for brown and a bracelet for a canvas strap. The fonts, aside from the Audemars Piguet logo, are switched out for a freehand script, the day hand for the Cactus Jack branding, and the moon phase for the Cactus Jack logo. In case you're wondering why the outer scale only goes to 52, by the way, that's because it's a weak counter. On the back, the rotor weight gets the Cactus Jack branding too, and the message "Utopia is a state of mind" is engraved on the caseback, referencing Scott's latest album, Utopia. There's a custom buckle too, and the price is set at $201,000. Only 200 pieces will be made. It's one thing to sell watches today, but selling them tomorrow is harder than just making a good product. It's easy to get comfortable with the idea that things have always been the way they've been, but actually a little digging shows how quickly the tide can change. Just 10 years ago, the Royal Oak was a poor seller for Audemars Piguet, a watch considered ugly and awkward, the brand struggling to find sales with it and the other watches it was making that have long since been discontinued. Remember them? Exactly. Audemars Piguet is responsible for bringing the attention of the music industry away from a dominant Rolex, with Jay-Z's 2002 Show You How. Over 2 decades later, and the brand has recovered to become one of the top 5 in the world, ahead of both Patek Philippe and Vacheron Constantin. The fact of the matter is, whether you're a hip-hop fan or not, the genre is incredibly popular. Despite a half-century head start, the Beatles already have Travis Scott sitting pretty at a quarter of their total album sales, with hip-hop as a genre dominating with almost a third of all music streamed. It's simply a numbers game. Of the billions of people who listen to Scott, some of them will have a few 100,000 they want to spend on getting a watch from their hero. So that's today, but what about tomorrow? Audemars Piguet's older customers are going to be replaced by a younger generation, but perhaps not if that younger generation thinks watches are old-fashioned and out of touch. Watches could just be replaced by sneakers, just as mechanical was replaced by quartz in the 1970s. It can all happen very quickly, and Audemars Piguet is very aware of that, having almost been caught out last time. Hip-hop presents such a good opportunity because of the prominent flex culture that very overtly praises wealth and success, with high-ticket items like luxury wristwatches. There's no single better way to change trends and promote product than through hip-hop, and whilst many Audemars Piguet aficionados would complain about the dilution of a once great brand, it's important to remember that the Royal Oak itself was a dilution of the original maker of complicated pocket watches. It was begrudged then, as this is begrudged now. But if Audemars Piguet intends to survive another century and a half, it'll have to keep moving. What better way to do that than with one of the most successful hip-hop artists today? The numbers really do tell the whole story. The Music Edition offshore is trading above retail, and the Marvel editions for multiples of retail. So there's a strong sense of investment potential for these products, and the same is likely of the Cactus Jack edition too. It's not a topic a lot of collectors are particularly fond of, but whether you like it or not, it moves units. Are you ready for some full-on old man yells at cloud action? Because this is my statement against the collaboration and why it's potentially less than ideal for Audemars Piguet. Let's revisit some of those collaborations again. McDonald's, Fortnite, and PlayStation. Are there Audemars Piguet owners who engage in those things? Absolutely. Do those things make a person want to buy an Audemars Piguet? Not likely. The Marvel offshores may look like Happy Meal toys, but you aren't going to find them in one. Truth of the matter is that Travis Scott's listeners are predominantly under 25, with a huge chunk under 18. Again, are there sub-25-year-olds who could buy an Audemars Piguet? Sure. Is it the optimum category to aim at for sales? No, of course not. Go to a Formula 1 race and wrists are abound with flash watches. A Travis Scott concert? Not so much. It's like driving to the supermarket to get groceries the wrong way because, hey, keep heading in the opposite direction and you'll get there eventually. The average age of an Audemars Piguet owner, by comparison, is old as shit. It's going to be. The watches are expensive, and I would suggest that older, richer people are generally less inclined to listen to songs called Piss on Your Grave. Call it a hunch. We're talking people who wear Ferrari baseball caps, not Air Jordans. The idea of even standing at a concert is just too much. In fact, I'd wager that there's a higher correlation between manufacturers of collapsible camping chairs than there is with Cactus Jack. The worst case scenario here is losing some of your best and most loyal customers just to get an article on Hypebeast. But what about Travis Scott as a collector and ambassador? He owns watches, but of course you can probably guess the brands without even looking. Audemars Piguet, of course, Patek Philippe, and Richard Mille. Patek Philippe has its hype watch, the Nautilus. Richard Mille has committed to being a hype watch brand, and Audemars Piguet is in very real danger of doing the same. Maybe it already has. Collectors are already calling into question Audemars Piguet's status as part of the Holy Trinity alongside Patek Philippe and Vacheron Constantin with this kind of focus. Even Patek Philippe's CEO Thierry Stern has made big moves to stop this happening to Patek Philippe. Perhaps the most off-putting part of the association with Travis Scott is his tendency towards encouraging violence in the crowd at his shows. I don't mean just with the lyrics of his records, but actual active incitement. He's been arrested twice for incidents at concerts where he's encouraged crowds to rush security and climb over barriers, leading to injury. He's posted photos celebrating fans who've been injured or passed out at concerts. He spat at a concert goer who he believed was trying to steal his shoes whilst he was crowd surfing and told fans to f him up. He also encouraged a fan to jump from a balcony, ending in paralysis. This all came to a head at Scott's 2021 Astroworld concert, where the surging crowd, that Scott has dubbed Ragers, encouraging them to express their rage at live shows by shouting, "We want rage," resulted in the deaths of 10 people, the youngest being just 9 years old. Is that something Audemars Piguet really wants to be associated with? What do you think? Vote in the top comment below by either liking for or against. I'm interested to hear your thoughts as well, so let me know those in the comments too. Whatever you think, it's certainly bringing the tenure of CEO François-Henri Benamias to a close with a bang.
You motherfucking bitch!
Anyway, thanks for watching. Please also like and subscribe, and don't forget to wear your shoes in bed. Thanks. Still here? Watch this video next.